Championship fight. How do you feel right now?
Hey, guys, if you know my story, you're gonna love me. I'm worked so hard for that. Gabriela, my wife, my kid, I worked so hard for that. You can imagine that. I can touch now. I can touch now. I can feel.
Born on April 16, 1990, in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, Alexandre Pantoja's story is one rooted in resilience and determination. The youngest of three siblings, Alexandre was raised in a modest household under the care of his mother, Esther. His father, Daniel Pantoja, left the family when Alexandre was just a child. The absence of his father marked the beginning of a challenging chapter in Alexandre's life. His mother worked tirelessly to provide for her three children, often taking on multiple jobs. Through his mother's sacrifices, Alexandre learned the value of hard work and perseverance, principles that would shape his future both inside and outside the octagon. From a young age, Alexandre's dreams weren't of luxury or fame, but of creating a better life for his family. In an interview, he admitted that early on, his aspiration was simple: to be rich enough to support his loved ones. To help make ends meet, Alexandre worked a variety of jobs, from being a waiter and delivery driver to working on boats. However, he soon realized that his true passion lay in combat sports, particularly mixed martial arts, MMA. At the age of 14, he began his journey in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, an art that would become the foundation of his MMA career. Alexandre's introduction to martial arts came through Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, where he began training under the guidance of his stepfather's friend, a respected instructor in Rio. At just 11 years old, he entered the world of Jiu-Jitsu with a determination to learn and improve. He practiced relentlessly, often training alongside older, more experienced fighters. This early exposure to combat sports forged a toughness in him that would serve him well throughout his career. As Alexandre honed his skills in Jiu-Jitsu, he realized that his dreams were starting to take shape, but he needed more to succeed. In his teens, Alexandre's family moved to Arraial do Cabo, a small coastal town in Rio de Janeiro. This move was pivotal in his growth as an athlete. It was in Arraial do Cabo that Alexandre trained with boys his own age, sharpening his skills and understanding the competitive nature of the sport. However, life was far from stable, and the relationship between Alexandre and his stepfather deteriorated due to alcohol-related issues. By the time he was 15, Alexandre made the difficult decision to leave and move to Bahia to live with his biological father. This change marked a significant shift in Alexandre's life and training. While living with his father, Alexandre continued his training in Jiu-Jitsu and began to develop a keen interest in Muay Thai. It was at a Jiu-Jitsu event that he saw Muay Thai for the first time and fell in love with the striking aspects of the sport. Under the guidance of coach Helbert Reis, Alexandre dove headfirst into Muay Thai, winning several state championships. However, despite his success, the financial rewards in Muay Thai were minimal. Determined to achieve more, he made the decision to transition into MMA at the age of 17, marking the beginning of his professional journey. At just 17 years old, Alexandre Pantoja made his professional MMA debut on July 21, 2007, at Vila Fight. The fight ended with Pantoja securing a first-round armbar submission victory over Antonio Carlos, marking a strong beginning to his career. His transition from Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu to MMA was seamless, with his grappling-heavy style immediately making an impact in the regional Brazilian MMA scene. He would go on to compete in various regional promotions, including Shudo Brazil and Watch Out Combat Show, where he began to build a reputation as one of the most promising flyweight fighters in the country. As Pantoja continued to compete in regional MMA circuits, he began to make a name for himself. His ability to finish fights, whether through submissions or knockouts, was a key feature of his game. Between 2009 and 2013, he amassed a 6-1 record in Shudo Brazil, with victories that included a third-round TKO against Brandon Moreno and a first-round rear-naked choke submission over Bruno Azevedo. These performances helped establish him as one of Brazil's most exciting up-and-coming fighters. Despite early setbacks, including a loss to UCA Formiga in 2010, Pantoja's growth continued as he fine-tuned his skills. In 2016, Alexandre Pantoja received a life-changing opportunity when he was selected to compete in The Ultimate Fighter, Tournament of Champions, TUF 24. This season featured 16 top flyweight competitors from around the world, and the winner would earn a shot at UFC Flyweight Champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. Pantoja was a standout on the show, joining Team Cejudo, led by UFC Flyweight contender Henry Cejudo. Pantoja's journey on the show was remarkable, as he secured victories over Brandon Moreno and Kai Kara France, but was ultimately eliminated in the semifinals by Hiromasa Ojukubo. Despite his elimination from the competition, Pantoja's performances on TUF earned him a UFC contract. He made his UFC debut on January 28, 2017, at UFC on Fox, Shevchenko versus Pina. In a closely contested bout, Pantoja defeated Eric Shelton via split decision. This victory set the tone for his UFC career as he showcased his resilience, grappling control, and cardio. Over the next few years, Pantoja continued to rise through the ranks, securing victories over fighters like Newell Siri, Brandon Moreno, and Uluka Sasaki, establishing himself as one of the top flyweight contenders. As Pantoja's UFC career began to gain momentum, he faced a major setback in 2018 when he lost a unanimous decision to Dustin Ortiz at UFC 220. This defeat was a wake-up call for Pantoja, teaching him the importance of strategic thinking in the octagon. While Pantoja had always been known for his aggressive fighting style, his fight with Ortiz showed him that in order to be a champion, he needed to adapt and fight smarter. This lesson proved invaluable as he continued his journey towards the flyweight title. After his introduction to the UFC and the competitive world of flyweight fighters, Alexandre Pantoja began to solidify his place within the promotion. He wasn't just a fighter with potential, he was becoming a fighter with a mission. Early on, Pantoja faced some setbacks that were crucial in shaping his mindset and skill set. Losses such as the unanimous decision defeat to Dustin Ortiz at UFC 220 ignited a fire within him to refine his game. Every challenge he faced, both inside and outside the cage, added layers to his resilience and determination. With each fight, Pantoja continued to evolve from an up-and-coming contender into a fighter that others respected and feared. Pantoja's journey wasn't without its hurdles. His loss to Deiveson Figueiredo at UFC 240 in 2019 was a pivotal moment in his career. A fight of the night winner, the bout was intense, back and forth, and showcased Pantoja's heart. However, it was the aftermath of that fight that truly defined his path forward. In an interview, Pantoja openly acknowledged the value of that loss, claiming it woke him up. "I appreciate Deiveson Figueiredo because he's a very good fighter and a very talented guy. When I fought him, we were at the top. He's like me, very aggressive. He loves to come to the octagon and give everything. That's my style too," he said. But it was the realization that fighting recklessly wouldn't get him to the top that reshaped his mindset. The fight taught him that to be a champion, he had to be strategic, not just aggressive. After the loss to Figueiredo, Pantoja's approach shifted dramatically. He understood that MMA was more than just a sport of endurance and aggression. The key was to win moments and control the pace of the fight, rather than exhaust himself with brute force. In his match against Manel Kape in 2021, Pantoja displayed his newly refined mentality. "I go into the fight just to win the game, and that's what happened," he recalled. He learned the importance of pacing himself, picking his moments, and making smart decisions in the heat of battle. His success against Kape was not only a victory in the cage, but a representation of his growth as a fighter and as a strategist. Throughout his career, Alexandre Pantoja's motivation has always been rooted in his love for his family. His journey was not just for personal glory, but to elevate the lives of those he loved most. Early in his UFC career, financial struggles meant that Pantoja worked jobs outside the cage. He even drove for Uber Eats during the COVID-19 pandemic to make ends meet. "Money was short, and my wife started to clean houses, and I started to drive Uber Eats. But I'd do this again if needed, Pantoja said. But his goal was clear: bring his family to the United States and provide them with a better life. His love for his children, Kawan and Nicholas, and his wife Gabriella, became the central driving force behind his sacrifices. In one of the most significant moments of his career, Pantoja knew exactly what he needed to do to secure his family's future. After his fight with Brandon Royval in 2021, Pantoja was awarded a $50,000 Performance of the Night bonus. This bonus was the key to finally bringing his family to the United States and giving them the life he had always dreamed of. "I was just thinking about my purses. Win the money and go back home with the purses," Pantoja explained. His mind was on securing the financial freedom his family deserved, not on a title. But when he saw the then champion, Brandon Moreno, doing commentary for his fight, Pantoja's focus shifted from money to gold. The realization that he was closer than ever to a title shot refocused his ambitions. And from that moment, the journey to UFC Flyweight Gold became his sole purpose. Just when it seemed like Pantoja was on the cusp of greatness, disaster struck. An injury derailed his momentum, forcing him to turn down a title shot against Moreno. "The same day the UFC called me to fight Moreno was the same day I was going to have surgery," Pantoja said. It was a crushing blow, one that delayed his shot at the title he had worked so hard for. But instead of letting this setback define him, Pantoja's perseverance shone through. He focused on recovery, giving his body the time it needed to heal fully. 9 months later, Pantoja was back in action, and he made sure to prove that his time had come. In 2022, Pantoja made his comeback at UFC 277 against Alex Perez, and he did so in spectacular fashion. Pantoja secured a first-round submission via neck crank in just 91 seconds, earning a Performance of the Night bonus. It was a statement victory that proved to the world that he was still one of the best flyweights in the world. 6 months of therapy to recover my body. 6 months I didn't step into the gym. I respected all the processes. 9 months after my surgery, I fought Alex Perez and won in 91 seconds. That proved how much I wanted to prove to the world who I am, Pantoja proudly reflected. This win set the stage for his future title shot. Despite his victory over Perez, Pantoja had to wait for the UFC Flyweight division to settle before he could finally earn his title shot. The title fight between Moreno and Figueiredo had been postponed multiple times, leaving Pantoja on the sidelines. "After my fight with Alex Perez, I knew I needed to wait for Moreno-Figueiredo 4 in Rio. I trained a lot to fight in Rio because that's my town," Pantoja said. The opportunity to fight for the belt in his hometown of Rio de Janeiro would have been magical, but the timing wasn't right. So Pantoja waited, focused on improving, and kept his eyes on the ultimate prize. In the lead-up to his UFC 290 title shot, Pantoja's training was relentless. His focus was razor-sharp, and his body was primed for the challenge. "I prepared myself for 1 year for that fight with the belt," he said. It wasn't just a title on the line, it was the culmination of years of sacrifice, perseverance, and a relentless pursuit of greatness. As he walked into T-Mobile Arena for UFC 290, Pantoja knew it was his time. Every moment in the gym, every sacrifice he had made had led him to this opportunity. July 8, 2023, was the day that Alexandre Pantoja had been waiting for his entire life. At UFC 290, he faced Brandon Moreno for the UFC Flyweight Championship. In a hard-fought battle, Pantoja emerged victorious via split decision, securing his first UFC title. The moment was one of both triumph and relief, as he finally achieved the dream that had driven him for so many years. "It was my day. I worked very hard for that moment," Pantoja said. His victory not only fulfilled his dream, but validated all the struggles and sacrifices that had shaped him into the fighter he had become. For Pantoja, the title wasn't just about being the best in the world. It was about fulfilling a lifelong dream. With the UFC Flyweight Championship now around his waist, Alexandre Pantoja had officially cemented his place in MMA history. But for Pantoja, this wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. His reign as champion is built on the same principles that got him here: resilience, family, and sacrifice. As the cannibal, he is known for his relentless approach to fighting, his grappling mastery, and his incredible ability to finish opponents. But it is his character, both inside and outside the cage, that has made him one of the most respected figures in the sport. His journey is far from over, and as he defends his title, Pantoja continues to chase greatness with the same fire that drove him to become a champion. Now that he holds the UFC Flyweight Championship, Pantoja is faced with the challenge of maintaining his reign. In many ways, this responsibility weighs even heavier than the pursuit of the title itself. As a champion, Pantoja must continue to evolve, adapt, and defend his title against hungry challengers who are looking to take his place. But in his heart, Pantoja knows that his legacy isn't just about the victories or the gold. It's about how he carried himself through adversity, how he stayed true to his family, and how he made the world believe in his dream. As he prepares for his next title defense, Pantoja's journey is far from over. In fact, the hardest battles may still lie ahead. As a newly crowned champion, Alexandre Pantoja's mindset evolved even further. He had already proven that he could overcome adversity and rise to the occasion when the stakes were highest. However, now that he held the UFC Flyweight Championship, a new challenge loomed, maintaining his reign at the top. Pantoja understood that being a champion was not simply about holding a title, but about constantly improving, staying hungry, and adapting to the ever-changing dynamics of the sport. "I always wanted to be rich, but now I see that the greatest wealth I have is my family," he shared. His focus shifted from individual success to ensuring that his family could benefit from his hard work. Yet the fire that had led him to the top remained the same, relentless, determined, and unyielding. The role of UFC Flyweight Champion brought a new sense of responsibility to Pantoja's life. The title meant more than just recognition. It signified that he was now the target of every challenger in the division. This new role forced Pantoja to embrace the pressure and find ways to manage it effectively. He began to develop a sense of gratitude for the journey that had brought him here. Pantoja's reflections on his rise are rooted in the understanding that success didn't come easy. Every challenge he had faced, from financial struggles to physical setbacks, had prepared him to wear the championship belt with honor. "It wasn't just the belt, it was everything I went through to get it," Pantoja shared, emphasizing that his championship was not just a title, but a symbol of years of sacrifice, growth, and resilience. After capturing the championship, the next challenge for Pantoja was defending his title against a new wave of hungry contenders. Fighters like Brandon Moreno, who had faced him before, were eager to get another shot at the champion. But for Pantoja, defending the belt wasn't just about winning. It was about proving to himself and the world that he deserved to be there. "I am not just defending my belt. I am defending everything that led me to it," Pantoja explained. With each defense, he would have to not only fight for the gold, but also honor the legacy of all the fighters who had come before him. The weight of the title was immense, but Pantoja was undeterred. He understood that being a champion wasn't just about the victories, it was about continuously proving that you are the best. For Pantoja, his family has always been the cornerstone of his life, and their support was crucial in helping him navigate the pressures of being a champion. Through the ups and downs of his career, Pantoja's family remained his rock, grounding him amid the chaos. His wife, Gabriela, and their two children, Kawan and Nicholas, were at the heart of everything he fought for. "I do everything for my kids, for my wife, for my family," Pantoja shared, reflecting on how they fueled his desire to achieve greatness. His victories in the octagon were not just for himself, but for his family, who had supported him during the most challenging times. Whether it was his wife working tirelessly to support their family while he fought for a better life, or his children, who represented the future Pantoja was building, his family's presence in his life served as a constant reminder of what he was working for. The mental resilience required to remain a champion is often underestimated, but it's an integral part of Pantoja's success. After securing the title at UFC 290 against Brandon Moreno, Pantoja's journey was far from over. He knew that each fight brought new challenges and new threats. "I need to fight smarter now, not just harder," Pantoja acknowledged. The lessons he learned from his previous losses to Figueiredo, Askarov, and others were now vital to his championship reign. Pantoja understood that being a champion meant not just surviving, but thriving under the intense pressure that came with the title. His ability to adapt, stay calm under fire, and execute a game plan in the face of adversity was what kept him at the top. This mental toughness, paired with his technical skills, made him one of the most formidable champions in UFC history. Pantoja's journey to becoming UFC Flyweight Champion was arduous, but staying at the top proved to be just as challenging. Defending the title against high-level challengers like Brandon Royval, Steve Erceg, and Kai Asakura meant that Pantoja had to continuously refine his skills and improve his fight IQ. Every new challenger was a test of his will, his resolve, and his commitment to being the best. "I know what it's like to fight for the belt, and now I know what it's like to defend it," Pantoja said. As he stepped into the octagon for his title defenses, Pantoja was not only defending his title, but also the legacy he had built. The pressure to perform never waned, but it was a pressure that Pantoja was willing to carry for as long as it took. As the flyweight division continued to evolve, new challengers emerged with fresh skills and unique approaches to the sport. Fighters like Askar Askarov, Kai Kara France, and Brandon Royval posed constant threats to Pantoja's reign. Yet, Pantoja's experience and adaptability allowed him to thrive against these challengers. His victory over Royval at UFC 296 in December 2023 was a testament to his growth as a fighter. Although Royval was known for his aggressive striking and unorthodox movements, Pantoja relied on his grappling and wrestling to control the fight, earning a dominant, unanimous decision victory. This performance highlighted Pantoja's ability to neutralize even the most dangerous threats in the flyweight division. For Pantoja, legacy was more than just titles and accolades. It was about how he carried himself both in and out of the octagon. "I want to be remembered as a fighter who never gave up, who always pushed through the toughest times," Pantoja said. This mindset was essential not only for his career, but also for his life. It was about showing the world that hard work, dedication, and resilience were the keys to success. As he defended his title and competed at the highest level, Pantoja knew that his legacy would be defined by the way he handled the pressure and adversity that came with being a champion. The mental toughness he had built over the years would serve him well as he continued to write his story. Pantoja's training at American Top Team in Coconut Creek, Florida, played a crucial role in his evolution as a fighter. When he first moved to the U.S. in 2018, it was a big leap in his career. The UAM, home to some of the best fighters in the world, offered Pantoja the opportunity to refine his techniques and learn from top-tier coaches. It was here that Pantoja sharpened his grappling, wrestling, and striking, becoming an even more complete fighter. His time at ATT helped him grow not just as a fighter, but as a student of the sport, always striving for improvement. This commitment to continuous learning was essential to his ability to adapt to new challenges in the UFC and solidify his place as a champion. As Pantoja continues his reign as UFC Flyweight Champion, the road ahead is filled with challenges. Fighters are always coming for the title, and the division is as competitive as ever. But for Pantoja, these challenges are part of what makes his journey worthwhile. "The most important thing is to keep improving, keep evolving," he says. Whether it's training harder, refining his techniques, or adjusting his mental approach, Pantoja knows that he can never become complacent. His motivation remains the same: to be the best, to defend his legacy, and to prove that he belongs at the top of the flyweight division. The road ahead may be long, but with the heart of a champion and the mindset to match, Pantoja is ready for whatever comes next. Alexandre Pantoja's journey through the ranks of MMA, from humble beginnings in Brazil to UFC Flyweight Champion, is a story that transcends the sport. His narrative is not one of a fighter merely chasing titles, but of a relentless individual whose spirit cannot be broken. His career is a testament to hard work, sacrifice, and the will to succeed against all odds. "I have always wanted to be rich, but not just with money. I wanted to be rich with love, with respect, with the strength to fight through adversity," Pantoja reflected. And while the UFC Flyweight Championship represents the pinnacle of his career, it is not the end of his story. For Pantoja, this is merely the beginning of a legacy that extends far beyond the octagon. The lessons Pantoja learned through his hardships shaped him into the fighter and person he is today. Raised by a single mother who worked tirelessly to provide for her children, Pantoja's early life was marked by struggle, a reality that would later influence his career. Even before the UFC, Pantoja was accustomed to facing challenges head-on. Whether it was working multiple bums, training while financially struggling, or dealing with personal adversity. Pantoja's early years instilled a sense of determination that would propel him through the toughest moments in his fighting career. His perseverance in the face of hardship is one of the most defining aspects of his legacy. Pantoja's relationship with his family is a cornerstone of his life and his success. His mother, Esther, was the anchor during his childhood, showing him the meaning of resilience and selflessness. Pantoja's relationship with his wife, Gabriela, and their two children, Kawan and Nicolas, further fueled his drive. His story isn't just about personal glory, it's about the sacrifices he made for his family and the ways in which they've supported him through every fight. Whether it was his wife taking on cleaning jobs so the family could get by, or his children, whose laughter and love motivated him to reach for greatness, family was always his greatest strength. Pantoja's victories inside the cage were for them, for the future he wanted to build, and for the promises he made to those he loved most. Pantoja's story also stands as an example of overcoming setbacks with grace and dignity. The losses he suffered, particularly those to Davison Figueiredo and Askar Askarov, were not merely obstacles but valuable lessons that reshaped his approach to fighting. Instead of succumbing to disappointment, Pantoja used each defeat as an opportunity to improve. The loss to Figueiredo, in particular, was a moment that changed Pantoja's mindset entirely. His acknowledgement that he needed to fight smarter, not just harder, helped pave the way for his future success. Every setback became part of his larger narrative, a narrative of resilience, self-reflection, and growth. One of Pantoja's most valuable assets as a fighter is his mental toughness. Throughout his career, he has faced not only physically demanding fights, but also mental battles. Whether it was enduring the pressure of being a top contender, or dealing with the financial struggles that came before his big break, Pantoja's ability to stay focused and positive has been crucial to his success. The mental part is what makes a champion, Pantoja often says. His ability to adapt and stay grounded, even as the pressure mounted, has made him one of the most resilient champions in UFC history. For Pantoja, it's not just about physical toughness. It's about finding the strength to stay mentally sharp through every fight. Pantoja's nickname, the Cannibal, is a reflection of his ferocious fighting style. Known for his aggressive approach, particularly his ability to finish fights with submissions, Pantoja has earned a reputation as one of the most feared flyweights in the world. His grappling, particularly his mastery of rear naked chokes, has been a defining aspect of his career. But beyond the nickname and his style, the Cannibal represents something deeper, a fighter who refuses to be tamed, a competitor who fights with everything he has. His fighting spirit is what fans admire the most, and it's a key part of the legacy he's building. It's this tenacity and hunger for victory that earned him respect not only from his peers, but also from fans all over the world. As one of the most dominant flyweights in UFC history, Pantoja has helped elevate the division to new heights. His battles with some of the best flyweights, such as Brandon Moreno, Kai Kara France, and Askar Askarov, have showcased the flyweight division's evolving depth and skill. Pantoja's reign is a testament to the evolving nature of the flyweight class, which, at one point, was often overlooked. His performances have helped redefine what it means to be a champion in the flyweight division, and his impact has left an indelible mark on the sport. Pantoja's era as champion has proven that flyweight fighters have the skill, toughness, and heart to rival any weight class in the UFC. Despite his fame, Pantoja has always remained humble and grounded. He never forgets where he came from, and that's why he is committed to giving back. From providing for his family to helping those in his community, Pantoja has always maintained a deep sense of gratitude. His upbringing, marked by hardship, has made him appreciative of every opportunity he's had. Whether through charity work or simply offering guidance to younger fighters, Pantoja's focus has always been on lifting others up along the way. He sees his success not as a solitary achievement, but as a collective effort shared with those who have supported him throughout his life. As Pantoja's career continues to unfold, his legacy is not just defined by his victories inside the cage, but by the impact he has had outside of it. The lessons he has shared with fans and fighters alike about resilience, hard work, and perseverance are as valuable as any title he will ever win. His story is one of redemption, triumph, and the power of the human spirit. It's a story that resonates far beyond the UFC octagon. Pantoja has become an inspiration for anyone who has faced adversity and dared to chase their dreams despite the odds. His journey is proof that greatness is earned through sacrifice, struggle, and an unwavering belief in oneself. As Alexandre Pantoja's career continues to evolve, one thing is certain: his journey is far from over. His drive to be the best remains intact, and with each passing fight, he has an opportunity to cement his place in history even further. Whether defending his title or climbing to new heights in his career, Pantoja's legacy will be defined by his perseverance, skill, and dedication to the sport. His family, his fans, and his fellow fighters all look to him as a role model, someone who has shown that no matter how difficult the road, success is within reach for those who are willing to fight for it. As Pantoja continues to defend his title, there is no telling how far he will go. But one thing is for sure: his legacy will endure long after his fighting career ends.